Hi.
Now I always want to go when it says you are live on the screen. I always want to copy Brian to be like, we are live. But I know that he'd give me a lot of shit. So if he's watching, he's totally going to give me shit, but I doubt he's watching. So, hi, everybody. We're here. I think.
Jana's on cloud 10. I'm on cloud 1. And I don't know where we're going to end up in the middle. So hopefully the average
quit
is
drinking Red
a
Bull then if you're
totally
on cloud 1.
coherent adult. This is a Not Safe for Work podcast with adult language and adult themes. So fuck you.
So get the fuck out if that bothers you. And if you're under 18, get the fuck out. That means you, Ariana.
Yes, mommy pancakes. All right, we have a fun guest today. We're going to talk all about ball python stuff. And let's get through these sponsors real quick. VetDNA.com for all your testing needs, including cryptosporidium. You can use code SHITHAPPENS for $5 off the crypto panel at VetDNA.com.
You could also use pack 10 for 10%
off of it fucking anything.
Yeah. Oh, Brian's under 18. Get out! I mean, if you're 17, we might bend the rules, allegedly.
It depends on the state
your
law.
Maturity and the state laws. I think he's Tennessee. They don't care.
Yeah, they're all into.
They're into letting you be
child wives.
14. I was going to say sister wives at 14. Yes.
Hell yeah. All right. Do the sponsors, and we'll do a quick shout out because there's a lot of people here.
All right.
Please.
So we have I can point. We have the OG, Mr. Shane Kelly from Small Town Exotics. You can find him on every social media platform, including all of the new reptile social media platforms.
Maybe not all of them.
All of them? What?
Maybe not all of them.
What one is he not on?
I don't know. It's drama.
Oh, drama. Okay. All but one, apparently, but I don't know the drama because I wasn't listening. He does ball pythons, leopard geckos, hognose, and he's dipping his toe into boas. Great guy, a lot of fun. We appreciate his support from the beginning, and his continued support has been awesome. Thank you for supporting the podcast. We have Stone Age ball pythons here in the Pacific Northwest, down in Oregon, doing ball pythons. BNS Reptilia, he does all kinds of really cool stuff. Boas, pines, help me out. Ball pythons, lots of colubrids.
Bull snakes.
Bull snakes.
The bulls, I got a bull.
You got a bull snake at the auction.
Yeah, its face is hilarious. I don't know what it is about bull snake faces, but 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Awesome. And then we have Eileen with Bravo Zulu. She is our woman-owned, veteran-owned, college student-owned supporter, and we appreciate her supporting our podcast. Gray Family Snakes. I actually have dinner plans with Lori later. I know you're all jealous, and maybe there'll be a selfie. Gray Family Snakes, thank you for supporting the podcast. They are in VPI, Axanthic, Pied, Desert Ghost, all the things. So hit them up. And then Powerhouse Pythons, Mr. Andy. He is doing rats, mice, ASFs, ball pythons. He just got into leopard geckos. We'll see where else he goes. I think he's going to be doing some big things. We'll see. And he's also the Pacific Northwest rep for Go for Coco. Sorry, I get it confused with the other one. Thank you to our sponsors for their continued support and for not cancel culturing us, even though we're obnoxious.
So obnoxious.
Oh, Lori, I'm looking forward to seeing you too. It's going to be a good time. Everyone wishes they could be a fly on the wall, but
nope,
not going to happen. Anyway, we have an exciting guest today. Why don't we bring him out?
Did you do Justin?
I did him after Shane. I went in order after Shane because he goes first.
Okay. I forgot.
Wow, you really are tired this morning.
I'm so tired.
Oh,
let's just just quick shout outs real quick. Do you want to do them or do you want me to do them?
Oh, I can do them, or you can do them if you want to, but you're asleep. Mm-hmm. We have Andrew Heckler, who got his auction snakes and says that they're doing well this morning. Awesome. I would love to hear if that girl ends up proving out Heck Clown, and if the other girl ends up actually being yellow belly, because I don't know on that. Jason May, good morning. Lori, good morning. I'll see you this afternoon. Will's hella heat. You poser, where's your podcast? Jamie, LMK, Bree, good morning, Bree. Let's see. Marshall. Oh, look, there's me in the comments. Our new time is Thursday at 1 p.m. or new day. We're a new day, same time. With it being show season, doing it Friday mornings has been pretty rough for show prep. So we are switching to Thursdays for the foreseeable future, maybe forever. So this is our new time. New day. Sorry. I speak English good. Tara, Ash. Jeez, Andrew commented like 50 times.
He's having
Bohemian.
fun.
Justin, Jake. I know Billy's in here somewhere. Oh, there he is. There's Billy. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Blackjack's in the comments, and he's backstage. Do you see anybody I missed, Jess? Purple Church.
Purple Church, Super Snake Syndicate, Texas Kid, Brian, BC Balls, Morph Wizards, Marissa, John Feely, Heathen Hatchery, Brian, Jadora, Donnell. Hi.
Good morning.
Let's do it. Really quickly, the USARK Florida update. There's no real change in the Lacey Act status, and USARK Florida is running an auction this weekend. So it's an in-person auction at the fairgrounds in Tampa. So if you're in Florida and you want to help, go check it out. Spend some dineros.
And is there no way for people to participate online?
It didn't say anything about that. It just said you can look at the link here. I read it, but I didn't. It just looks like it's an in-person at a Repticon. And then last thing, I'll be at a show this weekend in Oklahoma City. We'll see how it goes. And if it's...
See, this is what happens when you talk on the internet and it's there forever. You make one rude comment.
I know. What did John ever do to you?
He didn't do anything, and I love John. He's so sweet. I don't even remember what I was saying. I think your podcast was like boring and I fell asleep, but I was also like...
You made William Philippic and John Feely.
I did. I think I was getting like 3 hours a night of sleep, so I was kind of a bitch, and I think anything would have made me fall asleep. So I apologize sincerely and profusely to you both. I was being a bitch. It happens. I'm really sorry. So, okay, right. I'm gonna bring Eric in.
Oh, we both clicked
to this awkward, moment.
Hey.
Good morning from Arizona.
Can we talk about the fact that Janet did the shout outs, and then did I miss anybody? And Jessica rattled off like 17 more people.
I was scrolling down through like 15 from the same people. It's not my fault.
I mean, but you didn't do a good job.
That's why I have Jessica. So when I do a crappy job, she can fix it. Sorry, I should have had you do the shout outs.
No.
So Eric, can we have the 60-second like elevator pitch of like what projects are sort of what you're doing now, and then we'll go like back in time a little bit. But in case people don't know you. They probably don't, so that's good. So I'm working on heavy on my main project is triples with DG and G Stripe, and then Clown and Krypton. And my main male is a Krypton, so I can score kind of both ways on that.
That's what I'm doing too.
I'm kind of minor focusing into the Kiki stuff in that same kind of area. Thanks to one of my friends here locally, I was able to pick up a pair of double head G-stripe puzzle. So really looking forward to that and seeing what happens there. Yeah. He's looking to hopefully produce some this year, and I think somebody else is maybe producing some this year. So not even sure what they're going to look like yet, but I have high hopes, so we'll see.
It's going to be interesting, and hopefully it will help the
Yeah.
success rate of the hatchlings.
Yes, yeah, and so those are the main ones, but I have my feet into a whole bunch of other different things too. So I mean, yeah.
Awesome. So you were in the hobby before, a while ago, right? And then you were
I
out.
was.
What
Yeah.
what happened then? Like in what time frame?
Yeah,
How
so like
expensive was a pastel? As like a
it was
reference.
like 2009, 2012 is back. Like I was in then, and I bred for like 3 seasons. And everything then was mostly codoms. You know, there was some recessive stuff, but the big focus was on codoms. And so yeah, it was all pastels and bumblebees and postaves
And bells too. We're just
and
starting.
bells were the bee's knees. They were like $2,000, $3,000. Yeah, so
I saw that you were breeding some Mojaves in your YouTube
Yeah.
videos, and I was like, that's when you wanted to be breeding Mojaves.
Yeah, funnily enough, my main Mojave and one of my other snakes was from Dave Green back in the day.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh,
Do you think it was that monsoon deep down inside?
What if I had it?
You totally had it. You totally had it.
that I don't want to know. I don't. That would make me very sad. So we'll just see. I didn't. Yeah.
How many clutches did you have back then, or how many years?
Not a ton. I think the first season was like 2 or 3, and then I think my max was like 6 or something like that in one season. I was doing back then. My main thing was to kind of set myself apart. Is I was doing Ustream, which was kind of like the predecessor to Twitch and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And me and this other guy that I made friends with who lived on the other side of the country, we were both doing 24/7 live streams of our eggs as they were hitting time to pip. And so starting about day 55, sometimes a little bit earlier, I would start streaming 24/7, and we'd spend as much time as I could and chat and talking to people and whatever. And like we got some really like loyal fans, and they would like name the snakes as they started to pip and come out, and oh, I want that one, name this one that, whatever. And so that's why if you do some research and you go and hunt down my old channel, you can see that like in the wrap-up videos on those live streams, like all the snakes have names, and that's because the stream named them, and so we kind of paid tribute to that in those videos. So so the streaming was kind of that was my niche back then. It was also my kiss of death. I had a bumblebee clutch my second season, which was like the pinnacle of my season that I was looking forward to the most. And
those were the shit.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. And I was all about trying to make the stream quality as good as possible. And like I used saran wrap, like just like pulled like crystal clear tied on top of the tub so the cam could see down in there, but there was kind of reflection and the lighting wasn't great in some situations. So I went out and got some different lights and put those in the top of the incubator, and they worked great and everything looked fantastic. And so I started them on this bumblebee clutch like earlier than normal because I was so excited about it. And day 56 got there and I cut, and they were all dead.
You nuked them a little?
And there was like 3 or 4 bumblebees in there. I would have to go back and look at the video, but they were not LED lights. Oh no. And I took a temp reading on that top rack where that tub was, and it was like 98 degrees because of the light. And yikes. it cooked them, and it broke my heart. Like it literally broke my heart. And I think I had like 2 clutches the season after that. I backed way off of breeding. And then some life stuff happened. Plus at the same time, the Pro Exotics fire had just happened, which made me like second guess a lot of things. Cause that was scary, man. That Pro Exotics fire, like all those animals and all that damage. And it was just, it was a big thing back then, and watching that happen and what those guys went through. And so I wound up getting out and just kind of liquidating everything and just dealing with life situations and whatever. Out of all the snakes that I had, I only kept 2 female Dumerals boas, which were my favorites, and I kept those through the whole time. And then in 2019, I was talking to one of my buddies at a reptile shop that I go to. I was doing tarantulas at that point in time, and I talked to him about a trade for my Dumerals for some balls, and I was only going to get like two pairs, so I could just do a little tiny bit of breeding.
Sucked back in.
200 snakes later.
So you think you got out just because you were just too hurt, or was there like market stuff and like personal stuff?
So
and so they all kind of like
the market was tanking a little bit. The stuff that had happened was weighing heavy on me, and there was definitely some life stuff happening too. So it was kind of a trifecta of doom, right? And so,
which I think is the case a lot, right? Most people,
absolutely.
even if the market's sort of meh, if everything else is going swimmingly, you just like tough it out. But I think people get hammered and they're like, "Fuck, I gotta."
Yeah, one of the things that Justin says the key to success in this industry is stable life, right? And when life gets tumultuous, then it's kind of the first thing to go. So
right, you can't take care of animals if you can't take care of yourself.
Yeah, and so I decided once life was stable again, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. So we're just going to jump back in head first. And unfortunately, when I jumped back in, I hadn't done a ton of analysis on the market and figured out what was really hot and really what really wasn't. And
so you were back in like 2012 brain.
I bought way too many codoms without recessives and
right, it's
stuff
okay.
like that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So we're correcting some of that right now, but like,
but they were so cheap and they're so cool.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure coming from the old market, you were just like, I can afford all of them.
I know. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've definitely doubled down in about 12,000 times now. So,
how many do you have currently? Ish.
Right now, I have about 120 adults and grow-ups, and then I have about another 40 or so for sale.
It's about normal. So, do you work a full-time job too? Because I thought you said you got the day off today.
Yeah, no, I definitely work a full-time job. Yeah. And have a butt ton of rodents. So
the rodents will kill you every time.
They're the worst.
But you almost have to have your own rodents these days, especially during COVID when everybody was so inconsistent, or like the ability to get them was, it was scary sometimes. Like I know people who lost their whole season because they couldn't access enough rodents to feed their girls. So it's insurance basically.
Locally, the rodent market is kind of all over the place, right? Like there will be a surplus, then there'll be a deficit, and then there'll be a surplus because everybody starts breeding, and then everybody will get out, and then there's a deficit again, and like it's just so unpredictable. It's so much easier just to provide for yourself.
Absolutely.
So you got rid of both female Dumerals, or did you end up?
So I did. Yeah, I got rid of both of them. I'm hoping they wind up finding their way back to me because I miss them. But I did wind up getting another pair. So
yeah.
So what else do you keep besides the boas and the balls, the Dumerals?
I have a couple dozen Hognose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have some Brazilian rainbow boas. I have a pair of white lips.
So basically you have my dream collection. I hate you. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, and false water cobras. Those are my new love. I thoroughly enjoy false water cobras. I have one mainland retic that's still relatively young, and a couple, a pair of Ackie monitors, a Kintz monitor, and an Argentine Tegu.
Cool. Now, are those more pets, or do you eventually plan to get into those?
Some of those are pets, right? The Tegu and the monitor are pets. The Ackie monitors I plan on breeding. The white lips I'll try to breed. We'll see how that goes. The rainbow boas are definitely gonna be bred, and the Dumerals will definitely be bred. So, and I got hog eggs in the incubator right now, but only.
What projects are you involved in with the Hognose?
So my main project, the whole thing that I got in chasing was corals. So
Okay.
yeah, like my daughter was like, I want a pink snake. So
Those little girls will get you every time.
yep. So I mean, she's not so little anymore. She's 19, but she's still my little girl. So but yeah, so I got more than I needed for just that project. I have some other hogs too, but I was just kind of in ball python acquisition mode when I got more hogs as well. But yeah, I have a pair of hogs dedicated to coral and a few others that work into the project. But I have a lavender het albino and an albino het lavender so that I can make 100% hets even if I miss. So,
and I've heard that they do better if you have a visual to a het with Hognose in the lavender project. Isn't that
I
true?
haven't heard that. You may have heard it from a source I haven't talked to.
Oh, Snake Discovery's in that project, and she said, and I've actually heard it from other people.
If Emily says it, then it has to be true.
It does have to be true. Jessica, didn't you say that too?
I would never say that. We've talked about this before with
wow, you're so grumpy today.
Call albino. Where like the problem is the gene. So if you make 10 of them or you make 0 of them, it doesn't matter. Whichever ones are visual are the problem. So like the hypothetical fertility issues, some of the lab females might just not be good females, just like in corn snakes, where lavender female corn snakes can be sluggy. So you pick the lines that produce eggs and you don't breed the sluggy or kinky lines. And false water cobra lab is the same way too, apparently.
Yep.
So there's something about being lavender and colubrids makes you weak. So we just need to breed the strong ones.
Andrew's backing me up. Thank you. I did not make it up. I swear. It's real.
I know. I'm just like explaining why I don't think that logic makes sense. You want to be outcrossing, so head-to-head makes that. But like the problematic animals exist when they're homozygous.
Okay.
No matter how many you hit in the clutch. That's my opinion. Snake Discovery, more viewers though. Much more attractive. So listen to her. I like lavender but I know lavender and corns was much worse 20 years ago. Like it was basically like get fucked nerds. Like most of the female slade slugs only, most of them were kinked. And now most of the lavenders are good. So this is a gene where you can pick the strongest examples. And there's obviously some other cofactor genes that contribute. So we can fix lavender and hognose, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
it's just a matter of time and breeding the healthy stock. Yeah.
Yeah, just like pink albino, pink hypo or whatever in hogs was weak also, just to like pure inbreeding. But they're getting females that lay eggs now for the first time in 10 years or whatever. So we can do it. Some things you can fix. Yeah, I just wish the purple snakes were stronger to begin with. I'm not a crybaby though, I guess. But I like them.
I like them too. Awesome. And like whenever I show people my hogs, like everybody gravitates towards lavender. It's just a striking color.
It's like, really beautiful.
It's one of the few snakes that like we call them purple and it actually looks purple, right? There's lots of people say, "Oh, look at the purple in that ball python." Well, okay, it's purple-y, like
purple-y brown,
purplish, brownish, grayish. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of purple when they're babies, but then it's not purple at all right away.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like baby bananas, sure, I can see some purple, right? But
so we're talking about hognoses. Have you vended hognoses yet in Arizona, or just vended ball pythons?
No, but a good buddy of mine breeds hogs primarily, and I've shared a space with him at shows. And
now, is he still killing it even in this market? Because hogs they're fire right now.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. The hogs are kind of the place to be right now.
I was just gonna say you're probably like, thank you, daughter.
Yeah. I wish that I had more actually breeding. I only had 2 females that I was actually pairing this year, and one of them slugged out. So I only got 1 viable clutch, and not even all those were viable. So it's a small portion of hognoses, but it's a start. I'll have more next year. So.
Purple Church says, what about lavender and FWC?
I've heard about problems in lavender FWC, so I don't keep them and I don't follow that community, but I have heard about the exact same problems. So
I've heard it as well. I just haven't heard it as much.
Right, but I think we just don't have as many lavender FWCs in the U.S. yet.
Right.
And now it's still like a secret.
Emily's going to be breeding them now because her husband said she had to breed regulars before he'd buy her the lavenders. So they now have lavenders.
Yeah, the prices come down a lot on lav FWC. So it's like it's like it's something not insane to buy into.
Yeah. No, I was just talking to somebody like 3 days ago about a pair of het lavs. So
yeah, it would be it's we can do it. I'm telling you, we fixed corn lav pretty good. Like every lav was kinked 10, 20 years ago, basically. Now a lot.
How did they perpetuate it if they were kinked?
A kinked animal can still be bred, ethical or not. You decide, but
okay,
they're not like the devastating super black or super cinny kinks. They're just in a colubrid. Usually the kinks are just like a bump in the spine. Yeah, the purple people eaters or fierce grape. Was that the fierce grape?
Fierce grape, Lori, look it up. So, did you say that you were looking at lab false water cobra?
I was. So they're on my wish list. Yeah, I'll wind up getting a pair, just because I think they're super interesting, and they would be fun to make. I also have a very kind of uniquely colored normal false water cobra that I want to pair up and see what happens with her too, because she's much brighter and much lighter than your average false water cobra, and I've searched through all of the sold animals on Morph Market and not seen anything that's quite as bright and high contrast as her. So I'm curious to see if that carries through and kind of like a line breeding too. So we'll see.
That'll be cool. I love little projects like that make your brain happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun because there's not a lot of diversity in the false water cobras, right? You've got the hypo lines that aren't. You could argue they're not truly like hypo, but the lavender is really the one true morph in that whole species. So I think just finding those polygenic traits is really the key to the diversity there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you could have the next gene in your collection right now.
Heck yeah. I could have the monsoon false water cobra.
That's right.
That would be cool, actually.
The polygenics in a snake, like Jessica's really, really amazing at it. And probably Justin too. I think that it's like a skill to be able to just see like the minute differences. That's where these genes come from, is somebody can see that and they work with it and they bring it out, and then we all get to play with it.
It's crazy. Work. Yeah. I mean, you look at some of this stuff like Spectre and stuff like that. Like, dude, if I was holding a basket full of African imports, I don't think I ever would have looked twice at just a Spectre, but somebody did. And it makes some cool stuff when you pair it with the right things. I mean, almost all that yellow belly complex stuff you could say the same thing about. It did, like, there's plenty of normals that look very similar.
It took me almost a year of breeding to really be able to identify a yellow belly because it's so subtle, and I just didn't have that skill yet of just like understanding the minute differences. And fire and vanilla too, like if it's a really weak line, looks like a normal to me.
Could be any old dog on the street.
That's right. It's just like
I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah.
If you hadn't figured it out, you would have sent me 2 normals. So I'm glad you figured it out.
They are definitely not normals. Those are actually like really pretty yellow bellies. They were in my whole back rack, but thank you for getting them out because I had too many.
So what is the panty dropper? I don't know what combo that is. Brian or Eric, do you know?
I am not familiar. No.
Besides like Magic Mike.
Let's find out.
Cool. No, I like hognoses. They're fun. I like ball pythons. I'm always just like, what does this market want? I have no idea half the time. Like you go to the market and you're like, okay, hognoses, but like what else? What do they want?
Okay,
It's
I
not-
have the answer if you would like it.
I do too. Go ahead.
Oh, hang on. I clicked on it and then now it was too many things. It says it's a
You went
combination.
to the same place I did.
Yeah, the combinations for hognose morphs. It says it's a combination of recessive sable, recessive toffee belly, and the homozygous incomplete dominant super arctic.
So it's a sable toffee belly super arctic.
So is it like brown?
The panty dropper's brown. That just is not giving
they
me
are,
a good
they are
That's
dirty
good.
panties. They are dirty.
So we should just call them skid marks. It's fine. I think that's what they meant. So, is there anything that it's on your wish list? Any species on your wish list that you don't have?
You know, as a person who loves reptiles, there's constantly things on my wish list, right? But I just sat down the other day and was thinking, like, realistically, what do I want to add? And I think I'm actually pretty content with the species that I have. I definitely want to add a couple more falsies. I might add a couple more rainbow boas at some point. And I forgot. If my buddies are here, if Elazar's here, he'll kick my butt. But like, there's a local guy I picked up 2 boas from last weekend at a local little expo that they have at a shop. It's just a little breeder special showcase thing. So I picked up a pair of boas there. So those are my first 2 like BCIs.
Are they like Morphy or locality?
They are Morphe. One of them is, let's see. I still have the tubs right here. There's a possible super hypo het called Salmon Lipstick Line, and there is a hypo jungle het called Cherry Coral Line. So, yeah.
All right, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
I heard womp 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 call.
Uh-huh.
Womp womp
Yeah.
womp womp call.
I mean, really, like what I really want to get into in the boas is I want to get some IMGs just because IMGs.
Hell yes.
Yeah, it adds a lot of drama no matter what IMG's doing. It usually like makes it just crazy.
Absolutely.
You're like, this is
Yeah.
Love,
fucking know.
love IMG. There's a couple of IMG combos that I really want to make that I haven't seen. Jessica and I did. It was audio only, so you guys didn't really get to see it. We've done one since that wasn't audio only that had the video, but our first BOA episode, audio only, her and I were on video, and so she was showing me a bunch of really cool stuff, and I was like, we should add that to IMG. We should add that with IMG, and one day I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah, somebody posted the most insanely cool IMG jungle on Instagram the other day, and I passed it around to several people, but it was just stark black with like kind of yellow, almost like lightning, highlights on it. It's just wild looking. It's just, yep, I need one of those in my life.
Mm-hmm. They are cool. I keep pulling mine out of his girlfriend's mouth. I've done it like twice now. And I'm just like, and he's like, this is upsetting me. And I'm like, it's upsetting me.
He's like, I brought her flowers and I tickled her in all the right places.
It's just her. She keeps trying to eat them. And I'm like, this is stupid.
Has he gotten anybody knocked up?
She keeps trying to eat them. So they have to go on break while he like sheds one time and heals because he has like, they don't have retic teeth, so it doesn't like cut things, but there's little poke holes. So I take him out and give him a break, put him back in.
And he's like, no, please, no.
Have you thought about taking her to therapy? Maybe she has some deep-rooted issues.
She's such a hoe. I've never had a boa like not think.
I was just gonna say that's not very common, is it?
Together. I mean, every snowflake is special in this world, right? So, but she's eating him when he gets introduced, but she's been tapped with a hook, told I'm here, he's here, and she's still like, I think that's food. And so right. I'll have to like go in there and.
Do you feed her like the day before?
I have been, but like it doesn't matter. She's like psycho. Maybe she's building follicles, but I've never had a female be that
Can you give her like
Weird.
an extra big meal right before you reintroduce him?
I mean, I think
I
she
wouldn't
thinks
do
that's
that
what's
if
happening.
she's building follicles. What I need to do is probably just like pull her out of her cage, put her in like a bed on the floor with a heat pad on a thermostat, and just be like, we're in a new spot. We're gonna break this weird cycle.
What if you put her into his cage?
Well, they're
She
different
might hunt him
sizes.
down and eat him.
Yeah,
That would be fine if they were in the same size cage, but she's like,
right.
7, and he's like, 4, and
Right.
slender. So he's in a 70 series. Sorry, I was just like,
Well,
I
if you
just
put
like
him at
can't believe I
70,
pull
maybe
like
she
a
needs to calm
$4,000 snake
down.
out of another snake's mouth, and I'm like, my hands are getting stabbed. He's getting stabbed. He's trying to coil her. She's coiling him. Everybody's confused, including her. She's like, "Why are you holding me? I'm trying to eat." I'm like,
Maybe need to post a sign with the rules of engagement. They understand.
Needs a little sex education. We don't eat our friends.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be fun. Have you tried it, Jana? All right. Sorry. Let's get off that. Yeah, IMG is cool. Wish I could get them to not kill each other. But let's go back to ball python. So this is like a mostly ball show. Balls.
Heck yeah.
Ball on the wall. You've vended a couple times. I saw on your Instagram. What is like the Arizona ball market like? I guess is my question, because like some of them are good, some of them are mid, and it depends on what you bring, of course. But like,
I think it's heavily dependent on what you bring, right? So we don't have a ton of shows here. We have a show every fall in Tucson. We have 2 shows in Phoenix every year, and then Repticon, but we don't talk about Repticon. So
that's not too many for like a metro area, so that sounds good on paper, right?
I mean, it's 3 for the state for the year, right? So but California's not that far away. Pomona and Anaheim are not far. So
do you think that sucks interest away from your market, or helps it as people drive? Does anybody? I'm assuming vendors will drive to Arizona to vend from California.
They will. So we definitely get people from California and Texas and out of state vendors coming in. I think not having a ton of shows is actually good. I know I've heard everybody talk about like the oversaturation of shows, especially like in the South. How like they're just so frequent that they're not special.
Yeah.
So I think that helps here, but it's still very much the same in the fact that you've got to cater what you bring to the show market, and that's going to be mostly pet stuff. Unless you're going to NARBC or something where you're going to have just tons of breeders there, that's always going to be the case, is that you're bringing your sub $500 or sub $1,000 stuff.
So what's the most expensive snake that you sold at a show that wasn't like pre-sold, I guess is my question, because that sort of like is indicative of like
so I've
mid-range pet show or like a low-end trailer trash pet show.
So I did my first show last November, and then I did the spring show here, and I think the most expensive one I did was like $600.
All right, so that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Par for the course.
Yeah, no, I feel like most of the time the most expensive snakes sold at the show are the ones that I buy from my buddies.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like that money moves around the room, and people can finally buy what they wanted from their friend.
That's where my highest one is other breeders come in and they're like,
absolutely.
I just have it there really for show, or if another breeder's interested, like, look at this cool snake, or to be like when people are like $400, what? Yeah. But you have like a $1,500 one, and then they're like, oh, okay, that's fine,
I think most of the high dollar sales happen before or after the show, right? I mean, between breeders, so.
Yeah, they should really have like a breeder hour, like the very last hour of the day, whatever the last day is, because I feel like that's when everybody's wheeling and dealing to each other anyway.
Or
it just becomes Friday, complicated when all the breeders are walking around. Yeah, it would almost have to be Friday, because
like an
NARBC. It's hard to walk around and man your booth at the same time. Or
I only buy stuff from the money I make at the show. So I wouldn't be buying anything on Friday.
So it's Feely says it's a lot of fun. Does that mean there's like an after party, or I clicked the wrong one? After party? Is it like a social show network? I don't know why I'm interested. I just never talked to anybody from Arizona or like the Southwest market.
The Tucson show is, I do think it's fun. And they're actually changing the venue this year, so it's going to be a bigger venue with more vendors. So that should make it fun too. It's a lot of people. It's a whole heck of a lot of people, and
are there confused
that area
there?
That area only gets the shows once a year, like the Tucson itself. So I think there's a lot of kids and a lot of families who are super excited to be there, and so that's always fun, because they're just super curious. And I'm a firm believer in, like, we've got to get the kids interested, because they're the next generation of this stuff coming up, and they're who's going to be buying the snakes in 10 years, 20 years.
Or they're the ones going to be talking their parents into buying them. And once they suck their parents in, then their parents are going to be like, oh my gosh, I need 10.
Would you consider vending Vegas? I heard it was
absolutely
bad, but then I was like, that it's a new one for that market, so maybe it could be grown.
So there was a Reptile Nation show there last year, and I heard it was actually decent, but they're not having one this year. And
what happened?
I don't know.
There's 2 smaller ones in Nevada. I'll send them to you.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking for more show opportunities, especially once this year's hatchlings start coming. Most of the stuff I have left over from last year is borderline too big for my displays at this point, so they're all in deli cups sitting on a table.
I feel that.
Yeah. I'm like, just buy it, please.
So do you have an outbuilding for snakes or rodents, or is it all in your garage? Where do you keep this monstrosity of a hobby?
I lease a commercial space.
What?
Yeah.
That's a lot of overhead.
It is, but it's my sanctuary. It's
your man cave.
Absolutely, okay. Yeah. So I spend.
Do you breed the rodents in there too?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
How does the landlord?
So the landlord, I was upfront with him at first, and he was cool with it. We definitely, I try to be a good neighbor to my neighboring tenants, and the smell definitely became an issue initially. But I wound up getting 2 12-inch exhaust fans, like for like grow tents, and they're all internet connected and Bluetooth, and I can remotely monitor them and adjust them. But they are exhausting out the roof of the building and chucking air out at just an astronomical volume. So ever since I put those in, my neighbors have been extremely happy. So no issues now. I'm also downsizing some of my rodent production a little bit, just because I was providing for others, and I don't necessarily need to be doing that quite as much. So right. I hate breeding mice. I don't mind the mice, but like, they smell so bad, and
awful.
They take so long because there's so many in every tub, and you have to chase the dang things. Whereas like rats and ASFs are easy. Like, you just pick them up and you move them. That's simple. But I get tired of chasing the mice around the tubs. So I'm cutting my mouse production by about 2/3.
Do you vend like frozen when you did go to shows, or are you just selling lives to your like breeder friends?
I'm just selling. I do sell frozen to like clients, but like I don't do anything at the shows. I won't take them to the shows.
Okay.
It's hard enough to keep up with demand in the first place. I don't need to sell surplus at shows. There's not enough. Especially when baby season comes around and they're all disappearing at rapid pace. So,
yeah, the show part is tough because we go to shows and then like you sell someone a pet, they don't necessarily want to buy a 50-pack of adult mice.
Exactly.
So like we talked about selling pet packs,
right.
like, but then you're like, now it's my burden to like bring a
Yeah,
freezer.
I'm not gonna I'm not individually packaging 3 pinkies at a time.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Right.
Not
But it's
worth
not-
it at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it this weekend, and I'm an idiot. So
Yeah, let me know how that goes because we've talked about it a bunch in the past. And
right, I
I've never
bought
gotten
like
around
a
to doing
2
it.
cubic foot freezer, and I'm not selling like normal dollar price point packs. I'm just like 5 pinkies,
So you just like
$5.
sell them in dime bags.
Yeah, basically, you want your hit. Because I think that's like a big burden. Because somebody comes in, like they got a corn snake, they already have a tank at home, they've had a corn snake before, and they're like, "Where's my fix for food?" They need to go get on Facebook and like secretly message someone. So it's like a big, but it's almost more of a courtesy than like a profit motive because it's a pain in the
Absolutely.
ass.
Oh yeah, it's not a profit. You just like basically break even and you're not paying yourself for the hassle. But your customers are happier.
No, listen.
That's why I love
I'm
that.
doubling the cost. It's $5 for 5 pinkies, literally.
I know, but you're still like your profit
Right,
margins
it's
are so small. Like, I made a quarter. That's why I
Yeah,
sent
and
everybody to Andy, and he hates it.
that's the other reason I'm down sizing down on the mice, because the money's just not there, right? Like the amount of time and the amount of money that you spend breeding things, and then like in order to even be sort of competitive with the online markets with like Rodent Pro and Big Cheese and whatever, like it's impossible. It's just absolutely impossible
Oh, you
to
can't
compete with that.
them
Like,
at
and
all.
like,
It doesn't
so
make
I
it
can't,
worthwhile.
like most of the people I'm selling to, they're my friends too. Like I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, you should buy my mice because they're better. No, they're really not. They're the same, and you can get them way cheaper here. Like,
Right.
That's just not how I'm built. I can't do that to people.
And they have those like industrial strength mouse lines that have 20 trillion babies. And when you have
Yes.
like the cute pet lines that have 8 to 10, like a normal rodent would,
Yep.
you can't compete. So like you really need to be
Right.
charging 2 or 3 for an adult mouse, not $1 in just
Right.
any way. So Lori brings up a good point. If you took them as pets and just pretended they were pets and sold them for $7 live, you would make a lot more money, which is absolutely true. I believe it, especially since the mice are crazy. You get fucking Siamese ones and shit.
Just call them fancy and put a sign on them, right?
Hell
I get
yeah.
so many people that request ASFs for companions to mice pets, and they'll pay crazy money for them. It's really, really bizarre.
I had some guy hitting me up the other, like a few weeks ago, about rats, and he wanted a couple breeder rats, but he wanted to hand pick them, and I'm like, I have like every shape, size, color, like combination you can come up with. Like, what are you looking for? And he's like, can you send me pictures of them?
Oh fuck.
I'm like, which ones? He's like, all of them. I'm like, no.
Nah, dog, I'm good. Your $5 ain't worth it.
We're good, buddy.
Mr.
Sorry.
Billy says, I tried live and frozen at the last show and then just offloaded at the local shop because it didn't work. I can understand live being a pain in the ass. I don't
Most people
know.
at our shows sell out of their rodents.
Yeah, but he got a
frozen
few
thawed.
commissions to build racks.
We have a lot of reptile shops in Tucson and in Phoenix, so I'm wondering if that kind of plays into it. Like people already have their feeder hookups for the most part,
Yeah.
and unless they're like brand new and just getting their first reptile, then I could see those people potentially looking at it. But other people probably have their plugs for their feeders, right?
Yeah.
No, I get a lot of requests for feeders, and I'm like, nah, dog, I'm good. Go over talk to Andy. He does it all.
Yeah.
I just have a question for Tara. Where are you located? I really want to get into dwarf rats. I've heard really good things, and I would love to try them, but they're like to ship
Mad
for
money.
anything. Yeah.
Dwarf rats.
Dwarf rats. So they don't exceed ball python size like Norwegian rats do. And you can sell them in the pet trade, or you can sell them to other breeders, and they're like astronomically priced. It's ridiculous. But I've heard really good things about you breeding them for ball pythons.
Is the homozygous lethal? I'm asking. I just don't know.
The homozygous dwarf rats? Like dwarf rat to dwarf rat?
Yeah, a homozygous. Or is it recessive? I'm
A super dwarf rat.
I don't know.
Pure Calico rat. Came right off the ship. It's funny you're in Hagerstown. Why do I like meet people who used to live where I used to live, and then I'm like, go to there's like a donut place you can go to, but you have to show up there at like 4 a.m. to get donuts, otherwise they're all sold out because all the like laborers. That's all I think about is Hagerstown. Is like driving there half drunk at 2 a.m. to wait for the donut shop to open.
$100 for 1.4 ASFs? Are you kidding me?
That's what they go for here too. Like
Oh
I think
my
I was selling 1.3 for $100 at ours, and I sold out halfway through the first day, and it was a 2-day show, and people were pissed when I didn't have more.
I won't tell people how much I sell my ASFs for.
Yeah,
well, it's very regional. Like somebody could be producing and selling, and then everyone's producing and selling, and then
there's a lot of people that sell them here. So
right, so it's go ahead.
Micro squirrels. I've heard those are the demons of the rodent industry. I would no, thank you. I'm good. I'm real good on that. John Feely says he can't give away ASFs here. That's crazy.
Exactly, John. Yeah, I mean,
no, they go for like $15 a pop here, and if you sell a breeding colony, like I said, $100, people pay that without even blinking, and I'm like, you guys are. I wouldn't pay that. Yeah, it's insane.
Have you tried to resell colonies since that show? Because that was like 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago, so maybe it's different. I've seen other people sell them at the Puyallup show, and they were selling them for more, and they sold out as well.
All right,
that's unreal. That's absolutely
like they
unreal.
were selling them. It was like $100 for like a 1-2. It was pretty crazy.
I don't think Brian's here anymore, but he had to like wholesale a couple hundred, like wean ASFs to whoever, and then Bree had a listing too. I think Bree's still in here. So like it's very regional. If it's like, so it would be like a boom or bust, but they're all like a mouse equivalent. So like, just freeze them, feed it to something that would need a mouse. To me, that's what I would do with them. All right.
Ash, where are you located? I just sent you snakes.
Hagerstown.
I should freaking know this.
We just talked about the donuts, Hagerstown. She said it's recessive and not lethal. So great. So that's good. I love it. 10 out of 10. Like I don't like Rexes, super Rexes.
Are those
it's
the naked
not lethal.
ones?
I just don't like it.
Those are the ugly naked ones, right?
Yes.
I like patchy. Yeah. I like a single copy of Rex.
Rex by itself is gorgeous.
But two, all right.
Yeah, I don't mind them when they're fluffy and they have curly whiskers, but when
that's
when they
cute.
start losing all their when they start losing all their hair, no, I'm over it.
Yeah. I mean, I got some real dogs when I started my rat colony, and I'm like not happy about it. Like I got stuff that like its belly to back ratio is wrong. Like I've never seen a rat that was like squat, and it's not a dwarf. It's just shit. Okay. So like I left my lines back in Washington, and I'm just like been depressed about it ever since. Like every time I pull out a feeder, like I still have a couple. I'm like, this is an attractive dead rat compared to what I already have. So it's worth keeping it going no matter what's going on. All right, back to ball pythons.
Sorry, I keep going on tangents, but wait.
No, tangents are fine.
Guinea pigs, do they reproduce enough to be a good food source? I would never fucking feed a guinea pig to any of my reptiles, because then you're stuck for fucking ever. And
I don't think they have enough babies to be a reliable good food source, right? They have relatively small litters, and
they have like 1 to 3, but
and
they
the
can
gestation
have
period's pretty long too. So like,
they're fat little fucks. Why would you want to feed anything a little tub of lard? They're fatter than I like most snakes don't get stuck on prey items, so I wouldn't be worried about that. I've murdered people's, don't tell anybody I did this, people's pet guinea pigs that they were like
you're on the internet.
leaving at the pet store, and I would just gas them and feed them off because like.
So guinea pigs really aren't that fat though. Have you seen the hairless ones? they're no bigger than a Norwegian underneath all that hair.
All right, that would be fine. I'm saying like people's retired pet geriatric guinea pigs are usually really fat, like little cylinders with legs. So I would feed those to boas, but you couldn't feed them to boas all the time because otherwise they would just become obese instantaneously. It's like would be like feeding a fetal pig or something. Nasty. Where are we at, Jana? We were going back to ball pythons. Let's talk about Schmorf testing. Have you participated in any Schmorf testing? We have the black pastel inchy and G-stripe tests.
I have
this week.
What?
Yeah. What do you mean?
How
what?
the heck did I miss that?
I've
been under a rock in a deep, deep hole.
Oh my god!
No, I've been shipping out 24 snakes, so it's kind of just like
it's a stretch. It's fine, but we got it. We got the G-stripe test. So like,
I need to send some sheds today.
Yep. Yeah. So I've done several tests. My best one that I've had come back so far was with my pastel super stranger that I got from Justin.
Stranger?
Yeah.
As in every baby it produces is a stranger? I didn't even know there was a super stranger.
So it's hypothetical at this point, right? Justin has one and I have the other one. He kept one and sold one, so I bought the other one.
What kind of backdoor wheeling and dealing did you have to do to get that?
It was posted on the Morph Market, man, and I scooped that thing up.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Is it big enough to breed yet?
It's right around 500, so it's getting there. It'll be breeding this coming season. So,
yeah, that baby was the one in his video. Remember?
It was. So he presented both of those in the video. It was the second one. So he's gorgeous. Like I love the coloration, but yeah. So Justin's theory is that the super reduced pattern and then the alien heads from the stranger are like kind of super low on the body as compared to a normal stranger.
Mm-hmm.
So his theory is that that's the indicators for the super stranger. So he's working on proving it out. I'm working on proving it out. We'll see.
Can I ask you a question that you can choose not to answer?
Sure.
Whoa.
If it's not a super stranger, did Justin like wink at you like, I got you, bro?
No.
You can also not answer this question at all.
No, he did not. He did not.
He didn't wink at you even.
Oh, he
one
never
time?
winks. He's like,
No,
take luck.
No,
you painted Justin special.
No, I'm
not saying it's not. Like it looks like something else. But
listen, I know that it may not be, and that's fine if it's not. Like I was taking a gamble on it to some degree, right?
I love to take gambles because when they pay off, they pay off.
Right. Well, and so this one was 50% het clown and 50% het moray, right? So I got the clown tested and it came back 100%. So that was a score. So that means even if it's not a super stranger, I still didn't get a bad deal. It's still a win for me.
So it's priced like competitively-ish with just
absolutely
like a combo male het.
It was not, in the grand scheme of things, it was not priced ridiculously, right?
All right, so, that's fine. I'm just like, so I know he's like, I don't guarantee morphs, but does he like wink at people? Like if this one doesn't work out, I'll like cut you a deal on something.
He did not wink at me.
He did not wink. Okay, no winks here.
That's not to say that if it doesn't prove out super, I won't email him and say, hey, can I
have that wink now?
Can I get a late wink? You know?
I heard there was a backdoor handshake. Can I get that?
It's very touchy, and I don't know how I would handle it either. Like I don't want to be Justin ever. Sorry, Justin, because like that's fucking hard to be like.
It is.
The pioneer.
So like, how do you make it right if something is like whatever, and you obviously can't like discount them because it's 2 years later and you don't fucking know what the price has dropped to since then or what their lost value is, but you could like give them a deal on a new snake, right? That's what I feel like I would do, but I don't know the answer to nothing.
Well, and so the ironic part of that whole thing is that the one that Justin kept was the non-pastel version, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that one came back negative for clown.
Burn.
I'm like, you picked the wrong one, buddy. So the odds that I still get that wink after the fact are probably slim.
Okay. it's fine if there's no wink. I just
Yeah,
don't know what the right answer is. Because a lot of people are like, I'm only going hyper high end and hyper this and hyper that, and I'm like, I'm not actually sure I want to be in that market, and I can be wrong about that. But like, then you're like responsible for a different level of care because it's $5,000, right?
absolutely,
So you need to call people up and make it right and do whatever, and that's fine. But if
Well,
I
and
don't
if
know.
you have an
Go ahead.
issue with shipping or something like that or whatever,
Yeah, you
with
got
a
to be ready to eat
$5,000
that.
animal, yeah,
That's big
that's a whole different
responsibility.
level of oops. Yeah.
Right. So I'd like the 1,000 to 2,500 price point, which is still like a breeder high end price point. So I probably need to buy $5,000 snakes to make those. But I could eat a $2,000 snake. I wouldn't be happy about it. But there's
owning
like
a $5,000 snake is really stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just really is stressful because I mean, sometimes you just come out and you've done everything right, and there's a snake dead in the tub, and you tested them and they're fine, and you don't know why they rolled, like, and you're like,
Yeah.
like my bongo, perfectly healthy, ate every week, never missed a meal. He was a year old, but he was like 750 grams, clean water, clean substrate. Fed him 2 days later, dead in his tub, but he was negative.
Really?
Dead in his tub. Nobody else in the whole room was dead, and nobody in his rack that got fed, like literally from the same package. All of them were fine. There was zero reason. Didn't regurge, nothing. Just fucking dead. And I'm like, this was like the healthiest snake I had. Like, always would eat. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think there's like another level of like stress that comes with it too. Like if you have like an $800 snake that doesn't eat for 2 weeks, you're like, okay, whatever, you're a ball python, it's fine, I get you, I understand you. If you have a multi-$1,000 snake that's sitting in your rack and you're like, okay, you're a male, you're breeding next season, you have work to do, like if it doesn't eat 2 weeks somewhere, I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? Eat the rat. You need to you have stuff to do.
Food
you
for
need to grow. You need to grow. Like, we don't have time for this, it's stressful.
Right, especially in this market where like time spent not selling equals, a substantial depreciation in the value of that project. So you're like,
I needed
you
to
put off that
produce
product by a year. You're gonna see
6 months ago. Yeah,
drop. Yeah,
right. And it used to be like a little bit more like generous because like the market was going up and then kind of stable-ish for 2 years. It wasn't like perfect, but it was fine. But now it's like there's a time in the market.
Free fall.
Yeah, and it's a little. It is brutal on like the high end stuff because some of the high end stuff is like eating ass hard.
Oh yeah,
some of it's better and it's fine, but like if you brought in, and I've heard people on, the DLs, like mad at people like leaders like Justin or whatever for like dropping the market on Batmans. Even though Batman's like a 500-year-old combo.
There's 12,000 of them for sale.
Right. That's why it's so funny. And so Justin gets so much shit. And they're like, Justin ruined the Batman market himself personally, even though he made it and started it. And because he dropped it to like, 1,200. But other people already have it on there for 800. And it's a 12,000-year-old combo anyway. And I'm like, I don't ever want to beat Justin. Really, because God bless America. That's like a pain in the ass. Everybody's such a crybaby all the time. But anyway, what is your like dollar cost averaging strategy right now in like a down-ish market? Are you buying in double visual females, whichever ones are cheap? Because that would
I'm focusing on high quality animals and buying less, right? So I'm still buying animals. I think I've bought 20 snakes this year.
Thank you for your service.
But
I've been buying snakes this year too. I need
really
to move
picky.
my inventory to buy in. Like there's snakes I want right now.
Yeah.
I would
But I'm
trade
also-
somebody. Fuck it, I don't care at this point as long as it doesn't have Nido. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But in the same breath, I'm also looking to re-gear my entire collection and downsize a bunch of the early purchases that I made. You know, I joined
Mhm.
Billy's Patreon, and I've been talking to Billy and going through and looking at my structure and how my collection's set up, and really figuring out, hey, this is what's worthwhile, this is what's not, and you know, I'm gonna chop a big chunk of it and take that and reinvest it and grow it the right way. You know, so it's. To me,
Yeah.
it's about investing in the right animals, the right combinations, and for the future, not just what's hot today.
And what's next season's gonna sell or whatever.
Right. Because I mean, you can't. Kiki's hot right now, right? And I mean, it was cool, but like if you're just now getting into Kiki, by the
You're
time
behind.
by the time stuff grows up, if you're just breeding, you know, single gene Kikis, you know, with like one Kikis with like one codom, there's going to be a lot of them, you know. So you've got to be looking at getting a power male to go into those or something like that, so that you are built better for 3-4 years from now.
Well, even the double het female hatchlings have dropped about 50% in price just since
Absolutely.
last year. Because I
Absolutely.
know I was looking at getting a couple last year because all of my double het clutches, I got all males. And so I was looking at getting stuff because I didn't have any from last year, and they were ridiculously priced. And now those same snakes are 50% less and still on there.
The thing that baffles me, and I think you guys have talked about it when you've done your market analytics, is like there's a disparity between, especially when you come to like the double hets and stuff like that, the het prices and the visual prices, and that gap is astronomical. Like it just it
10K or 800.
It doesn't make sense, right? So I'm curious to see where that evens out in the long run, if the hets are going to acquire a little bit more value again, or if the double visuals are just going to tank. But like at some point that has to mesh up with reality a little bit more, because they can't stay that way forever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think it's just like people are like, I know I need the visuals because they're more powerful, so I'll do whatever I can. But like the background garden of double hets and visual het animals that exist is so vast that it's just unfortunate, like symptom of over exuberance in the visual. And so they should smush back together again, but I think the consequence is mostly the top, the double
Probably.
visual or triple
I think
will come down.
I think you're probably right, and I think in the long run, genetic testing is going to play a role in that too, right? Because there's going to be less possible hets out there on the market. There's still going to always be some, right? But like there are definitely people who are going to test and prove out their pos hets so that they can sell them as 100% hets, and so you're going to wind up with more of the hets out there than you would have with all the possible het market, and less people kind of gambling and missing and rebuying and reinvesting because they missed the first time.
I'm like desperate for. I know they have it because it's in the peer-reviewed literature, a caramel test. Because I'm like, the more intense,
how much is floating around,
because there's caramels in DG that and Ultramel. So like, I have both of those now, and I'm like, people need to be selling guaranteed caramel-free lines.
Yes.
Can you imagine your really high-end project pops out of caramel? Like, I would die.
Yeah, so I was actually getting ready to message Ben. I'm like, I know you can test for this. Why isn't it on Morph Market or Clutch as like an option in the panel? So like you could do your best males and your best girls and just be like, guaranteed caramel-free clutch. Done. And we won't be fucking around and finding out.
We might be the only ones worried about that, Jessica.
Well, we should be more worried about it because that's like the whole point of like quality. You don't want to have secret albino in your, what the fuck was it called? Aquaterra?
That thing.
Was that his name?
Yes. What is that name?
Your Aquaterra Kiki clutch. Jana, you don't want
No,
caramel
I
or
definitely
albino in
don't.
it. You don't want caramel
No, I
or
definitely
albino in
don't
it.
want any of those popping out. Thank you.
In your Calgon, take me away clutch. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like body spray.
A Calgon
Do
sunset.
you remember those
could be a thing.
commercials? Calgon, take me away. Am I the oldest person here?
No, you're
No.
not. I remember
Okay,
it too.
good.
So you're fine. You're good.
Jana
You're
didn't
like
watch
a
TV.
few months older than me only.
I feel old.
What month is your birthday?
I'll never tell you.
It's soon, isn't it? Because I think you're like 3 months older than me.
Oh no, it's already happened. You missed it.
Oh, I'm a bad friend. Normally, Chris
Wow.
gives me a heads up. She's real private about stuff. It's kind of weird.
I just like
I mean-
to be not excited about anything.
Anything can be found on the internet really easily. So
Oh, yeah. You search for that pen name and let me know if you find it. I searched for a year before she told me, and I never found it.
did I tell you what I do for my day job?
Uh-uh.
I work in cybersecurity.
I was just gonna guess that.
It
That's
wouldn't be
funny.
hard to figure out, but I'm not going to tell people how to figure it out. So go at it.
I'll find it, and then we'll talk about how much it's worth to people buy it.
I don't even care that much, really. Like I haven't written since 2017. I'm just like busy or whatever, so I'm not like thinking about people like pounding each other's junk that hard. Sorry, internet. But like you get into these like grinds where you're like, I'm gonna make money doing this, or it's like that entrepreneurial thing, and you get trying something. So I was like, I'm gonna just try this. So I wrote like 100,000 words one month and 50,000 the next month, and I had all this stuff, and I was like, it's not that hard to format a file for Kindle Direct Publishing. So you could write literally whatever dog
100,000
shit you
words.
want.
It sounds like a lot of words to me.
It does sound like a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't
A
know.
whole lot of smut, man.
That is on my freaking bucket list, is to write a steamy smut book.
Just write it and then worry about like the like minutia of like meeting Amazon's rules later, right? Like creativity and like the work of doing your job are two different brain functions to me.
I think Jen's problem with writing that would be focus.
Fuck you. That's not fair.
Shots fired.
Shots fired, and they are fair. Damn it. I mean, I've got a zoo at my house, so to be fair, although at night it's pretty quiet, so I could write at night.
Let's go back to ball pythons.
Jana King After Dark.
So
See y'all
would you
there.
vend a Super Show or NARBC, Arlington or Tinley? What is your like ambitions there? I know like the West Coasters get left out of like the NARBC thing a lot.
Yeah, so I'm vending August in Pomona.
Okay.
I have table reserved there, so I'll be there for that one. The Pomona shows are really the biggest shows on this side of the country, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Arlington would be kind of the logical next step. I'm not a fan of the idea of shipping a show's worth of snakes.
I know, scary.
Yeah, no, that's not even just scary. That's terrifying. Like
Yeah.
one thing goes wrong, like that's a bad deal. So I trust it more in my car. So I think Arlington's probably the furthest I'm going to get using that model, at least, right?
Right.
Because Daytona and Tinley are a long ways away. So if I go to Daytona or Tinley, it'll just be to see the show and hang out.
Mm-hmm. Do you expect to make a profit at a show? This is like a dumb question, but apparently it's very controversial whether or not people should be making a profit at a show or they should be taking the L and just for promotion.
I don't like the idea of taking the L at the show, right? I mean, I want the show to like pay for itself and maybe put some money in your pocket. That would be nice. I mean, otherwise,
would you vend like a national level show at a loss, like because you think somebody cares that you're there and you'll
No, because I'm still just
Okay.
in a sea of breeders, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You're still just a ball python dude, bro.
This is such a controversial topic. I've been like, people have been like, I would do a show every weekend just to do my brand, and I'm like, fuck, every weekend?
Hell no.
I know
At a
plenty of
loss?
very successful breeders who don't vend shows. So,
all.
I mean, yeah. So, is it really necessary to be successful? I don't think so.
It's so
And I
interesting
think-
to me how some of the older school breeders that don't do social media and don't do like any of the like coming in as a baby boomer, COVID baby boomer, you know, I have to have YouTube, I have to have Instagram, I have to vend, I have to do all these like requirements. And there's people that have been doing it for 20 years that can't keep snakes on the shelf, and they have no social media presence whatsoever, and it boggles my mind.
Reputation and word of mouth is a powerful thing, right? I mean, you hear guys talk about it all the time. You know, if I need a lizard, I know who to go to. If I need this kind of snake, I know who to go to. Like, they're not even going to look on Morph Market. They're not going to look on Facebook. They're just going to call their buddies, or they're going to call their buddies to find out who to call. Like, so reputation means a lot. And dang.
That's pretty funny.
I don't think you get to say that, Billy, because you do all the things. I'm sure that you were wildly successful before you did all the things, but you also do all the things now. And so the people that never got on board with that, like, it blows my mind that they're able to be so successful.
Billy's built different. He's just a different cat.
Even at anniversary, you should at least break even. 1 table, 2 displays, and break even on a bad show. I've heard of lots of people not breaking even at Tinley though. So
not at all.
So Arlington is different because there's like less people, so maybe it's better. I don't know.
Tinley might actually be oversaturated for
vendors.
For sellers. Like, there's so many people and so many vendors that, like, how do you stand out?
Yeah, and certain species get like, you know, their butt handed to them hard, just because, like, I don't know, like that client didn't walk down that aisle all weekend or something. Like, corn snakes sometimes get hosed there. Like, you could just set up corn snakes and nobody gives a shit, and it's just like too basic or something. Even if it's like
you're too close to snake discovery, so no one can go down your route.
Right. Or, you know, like the blood python people all like ran away from like the March one because they all did really bad. All of them somehow magically together. So it's so random. I don't obviously people can do whatever you want to do. I'm not judging you, except I am, because that's my job to judge you.
I mean, I would just say that if you're bringing corn snakes to Tinley, you're probably not going to break even.
No, he's throwing shade your way.
Yeah, I know. But what about like if someone is like the best corn snake breeder in the world and all of their corn snakes are $500 to $1,000, that's like a reasonable price point that you could break even. So people have brought tables like that.
They're all palmettos with perfect eyes.
Are there that many people at the show looking to buy $500 corn
That's
snakes?
the question. Nope. Or are they just like in the wrong fucking aisle because it's just too big of a show and we're not like targeting the $500 to $1,000 corn snake market? That's my question. So that's why like smaller shows may be better. Like you said, there was like a little pop-up show. Been talking to Mr. Bradley about it, and because he was getting into drama on Facebook, as he's interested in doing sometimes. And like, you know, like the Koreans will do like pop-up gecko shows, just geckos, just in this like a little apartment building or like hotel room. What if we did like pop-up Kiki, just Kiki combo, G-stripe combo, clown combo, ball pythons, high-end, downtown Seattle. So everybody wanted
that's way too narrow
Is it? What if the room was free, basically, because it was hosted at somebody's facility, like they had an extra building? I don't know. I'm asking if we should change.
I don't think you have to narrow it, but I think there is room for like those little pop-up shows, like you're talking about. Like, so the one that I was talking about, there's a shop here in town, and like twice a year, they have what they call a breeders expo. They invite certain breeders from around the state to come and set up a table, and it's not a big space, but I mean they have like I think 10 or so breeders in there, and they set up a small table and just show off their wares. And even it's an opportunity to sell, it's an opportunity to network, and it's an opportunity to get FaceTime with people. And even if they don't make a sale that day, they're still making connections. They're still building their network, and that's important. So I think little pop-up shows like that could work. It's just a matter of finding somebody who's willing to donate their space for a few hours on a weekend to facilitate it.
That's true. I mean, but I really like where we're going with the auctions, the online vending.
The auction's great. We just need to get more people in there
we need to get more people in the door. We need to like have a highlighter, like more well-known person, and I actually need to advertise it. Sorry, work wife.
I asked her to, everybody.
I don't know why you don't pick someone that actually like, I don't know, does shit.
I mean, that's personally, I'm really glad you had Cue Ball on. So, I mean,
yeah. Right, he had some cool, crazy stuff, but I also like. He didn't have time to give me pictures of his, like a teaser picture of his stuff either. So like, I think that would have driven like the people looking for a little bit more nice stuff there to get him have stuff moving. There has to be like a combination of like a big person, some little people, different species, and whatever to make it work. And I didn't mean like just geeky visuals, but like everything in the project, tangential to the project. If you could fly out and have it ship your reptile back to your house and you were just looking at the cream of the crop of that project. Because right now I walk around ball python shows all the time. I buy ball pythons. I haven't bought one in a long time to show because none of them are my project. If I could go to like the Hypocrypton GHI Blackhead conference, I would buy some more snakes.
What I'm trying to tell you is that it's more feasible to do an online
just that project
show, that project rather than having someone having to travel, because all those extra fees when we have such a vast online community, it doesn't make sense in my head.
You have an opportunity for a more diverse audience too, right? To suck in the people who are actually interested in that specific project. So I think that makes sense. I think like from your guys' auction perspective too, like I know you don't want to list out everything that's going to be auctioned, but I think there would be value to putting out a small list of this is a sample of what's going to be available, so that
she was trying to. None of us participated. She was literally beating her head against the wall, saying, "Just send me one picture, one flashy snake. I don't care what it is." And not one of us said.
Yeah, and I understand it because like part of the appeal is you don't have to take a lot of like pictures and do a lot of posting to move these animals.
Whoa,
but I do need some.
Them are fighting words. And I know you in real life. I know where you live. So
I'll be right back. My kid's screaming. I don't know why. Let me just have fun.
Lick Your Eyeballs would do pop-up shows at her facility. It was like a yard sale. Lick Your Eyeballs is literally their name. Have you heard of that before, Eric?
I have not.
I thought she was being funny, like lick your eyeballs, like shut the front door, I don't know who that is.
I don't either. But not a one I've heard of, but it's interesting.
Yeah, like pop-up facilities at like local reptile shops, like you were saying in your hometown. I definitely think there's room for those as long as they're not done every weekend or
No, that's why they do theirs twice a year. And
perfect, exactly.
It gets decent attendance, And there's one breeder in town. I'll shout them out. Pida's Life. They pick one snake for each one, and they auction it off to US for half the proceeds to go to US Arc.
That's awesome.
So there's a US Arc auction at each one, and it gets people in the door, it gets people interested, and it gets people excited when there's really not any shows happening. So yeah, it's
no, I think that's a great idea. Jessica and I kick around all the time. She's really trying to get me on board for like a bougie weekend show where there's like, like you fly in Snake Discovery or you fly in, I mean, obviously he's sick right now, but like somebody like Brian Barczyk and so you have like this celebrity, but a knowledgeable teaching celebrity that could give classes. And then, so you have like an education room and you have a vending room And
Yeah, so it's more of a conference than just an expo, right?
then yes, and so you
And I think that's cool.
you can enter either one with the door price or whatever. And
Right.
so people who have never heard about reptiles or don't know anything can go in there, and there's specific like animals that people are being handed to hold or other things like that. I think her concept's great, but it's like I don't think we would get the draw, even though Seattle's not terrible in the summer. It's absolutely gorgeous. But
you know what though? I think that's actually a really, really good idea overall. I just don't know about
hit
the
up Eric.
location.
He'll work with you.
But like an annual reptile breeders conference, like where you have an expo hall, just like for a normal expo, just like a big conference, like whatever,
like nothing for sale,
all
like
the
no
industries
live
have
animals there.
I mean, no, you could still have like an expo day and have the expo hours, for the vendor hall, but like you also have a day or two of scheduled talks, people talking about monitors, people talking about green trees, people talking about ball pythons, or maybe about genetic testing, or biosecurity, whatever. Like have different talks on different topics, and people can pick and choose what they want to go listen to, and also see the vendor expo, like run it like a normal conference. I think that'd be killer. I think, educate and sell at the same time. Good stuff.
We were talking about your bougie hotel idea.
There are many versions of this that have existed in the past and kind of exist now. Like at Daytona, they have like 3 talks that run concurrently with the show. Mm-hmm. I just think maybe the cat is here also. He's
let's see that.
He's so delicious.
Maybe some amount of like decoupling the sales from the networking would actually like benefit everybody. So like a social weekend at a destination that's purely for networking. So it's not like a cost burden and you're worried about whatever. You're truly there for networking. You can still take that as a tax write-off because it's a business expense, clearly. And we all fly to wherever.
That's the model she's talking about, is flora fauna.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do some like bougie flora fauna type weekends, and we do pure pet education in metro areas with no animal sales. Pay Snake Discovery and other interaction vendors to go there purely to educate and be like, if you like this, come next time. We sell snakes and lizards at this show circuit, but this is the pet education circuit done as a courtesy to the hobby. All of that would like, right now, what do we do now? We have like a swap meet with candy vendors, skull vendors, earring vendors, toy vendors.
Swap meet. It is
some
kind
like
of going there, that direction.
Ball pythons.
Cotton candy.
Some super high-end ball pythons lost in the sea of cotton candy. And then what buyer are we catering to? I don't even know. I don't know.
None of us know because every show is different. You never know what's going to sell. Like you really just don't ever. Different things sell at different times.
And you've got those vendors who are like bringing all these toys from Amazon and selling those. And it's like, hey,
like
this is a reptile show.
It's so like it seems crazy, but like that's the economics of what's going on, where there's like continuous diminishing returns are showing up. So you have to make a little margin somewhere. So people bring more toys, but then it substitutes for whatever. And then what are we doing? And so that's why you're like, instead of catering to the entry-level market, we should have some high-end shows that are for high-end animals that are very specific. An all ball python show. Why can't Arlington just decide to be an all ball python show? Like at that facility, all high-end ball pythons, the like disease risk would go way down because you don't have the scary wholesaler people who go to every one at Arlington currently. Just saying. And maybe that would be like the place to move ball pythons or get people excited about projects. So it doesn't have to be as specific as Kiki, but and I don't know. We're just like floundering as like an industry.
The only danger about doing like a all ball python conference is that you run the risk of introducing the idea of a non-ball python conference.
But we've had those. I don't think that's the danger. I think that could be really positive because I would still go to one of those. I wouldn't vend, obviously, because I don't have anything to offer, but I would absolutely attend one of those.
I would too.
People would gravitate towards that because I know a lot of like really hardcore hobbyists
Well, technically,
really
Flora Fauna is
frustrated
kind
when
of an
there's
all New
when
Caledonian
there's
conference.
just ball python vendors, and there's like, where's the variety? And so if you had a variety show, I think it would appeal to people. But then you have the ball pythons. If people want those, then they, you know what I mean? Like,
Right, I want an all corn conference.
that's never going to happen, Jessica.
Yes,
Oh my
it will.
God.
No,
It's gonna be
not.
There's a bunch
Nebraska.
of corn people are all dead, right? So like we need to hurry up and get them all together and get them on a live stream and recorded, like doing talks
The last of the
before
corn
they
people.
all die. Well, they emerged from the corn, the children, and then they grew up, and now they're all old men. So we have to talk to them real quick before they die.
So
breed them, they will
Andrew
come.
says, what's the likelihood of a VR reptile show in the near future? Is he asking for like a virtual?
Yes.
Yeah, I
where
would never
everybody's
do
wearing
that, and
headsets.
I would vomit immediately.
It's so
Wait,
weird.
I thought ours was like a virtual reptile show.
I think he means
No,
in
no, no, no.
VR.
We're talking actually like a VR headset, like virtual reality.
Yeah, we're gonna pay a bunch
Oh,
of
that's-
kids to buy an Oculus Rift and
Nope, never
to
gonna
buy their
happen.
$20
but
Good luck with that.
You can buy my VR octuple recessive ball python.
And then Blue Tongue wants to know if Holdback Rack would come to a symposium on blue tongue skinks. I would.
Yeah, I mean, Jana, have you ever been, or Eric, have you ever been to a conference that is not reptile related, like for your industry? There's not a lot of selling there. Usually, like people will be trying to sell their software for you to buy it later.
Yeah,
right?
you got
But they're
vendors
just there to
tempering
talk
pins on their
about.
wares, but they're just there for dog and pony shows, not to.
That's a
Send
Give
normal
you like
conference.
free
Yeah.
swag bags to buy their product
Yes.
later.
Right. You go to talks, you meet during the breakout sections, and you get drunk and try not to be bored half the time because you got into the wrong session and it was full. So like I've done that for science reasons, right? And those are very normal. We could do that for ball python industry. No sales, but like you could have like a pop-up of your racks and be like, buy it from my website later, or a pop-up of your projects, or like a video.
Yep.
And then you're there to talk about the industry. We could 100% do that, and that would be fine to me. Maybe the attendance wouldn't be that great, but who gives a shit? Like that's how we like grow as an industry, is get really boring conferences where we get
Really
pins
And shirts.
lanyards,
You have to have shirts and
And
stickers.
shirts. Everybody wants the shirt.
Oh my god, I went to Growing Communities on Karst, the conference, twice, which is a geology hydrology conference. And it was
best.
Super exciting.
Geology. Wow.
But because it's karst, all the like contractors who do like, stream remediation work or whatever are there. So they're like a bunch of like rugged dudes who like put on like wipe the mud off for a day, just like come into a conference to try to like shill to like the local government people because they have to bid for the contracts to do like stream remediation. So it's almost more fun to people watch these sorts of events than sit through the 12th introduction of what a cave is,
I've been
or a sinkhole.
Part of several conferences. One as baby wearing, one as a medical assistant, one in like a women's retreat religious thing. And yeah, they're pretty fun, and people do attend them, and they're not getting anything other than the experience. I don't know if reptile people would get behind that because they're so used to.
There used to be conferences with no sales. Like you would just go.
That's what NARBC stands for, but that's not what it is.
Right, but I think they probably went away because people didn't go because people were only interested in sales. Like if they wouldn't fly out there if they weren't gonna. You're like supposedly people go to shows because their downstream sales are like benefited from going to the show, right? Bless you. I'm so sorry. You all probably
is that your kitty?
Yeah, he's so sorry.
Wow.
Right into the microphone.
Yeah,
really
right
loud.
into the microphone.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But I know you all loved it, so you're welcome. Anyway, but we have to just reframe the downstream sales as being from these professional conferences, not from the swap meet with the toys causes one $400 downstream sale. It was like a really good connection at the show where you were talking about social media management with a real social media manager.
But we also have like
Makes
so
a $10,000
many
sale.
like supporting industries for the reptile industry, you know, like Husbandry Pro and the cocoa industry and the rack building or enclosure industry. You know, like there's all these industries that I think would also benefit from showing up with information
Well,
and
even
like a
stuff,
display.
yeah, even
that,
stuff like financial management and business management and
exactly,
social
having a
media
business,
management.
like
Yeah,
a small
yeah.
business entrepreneur workshop or a taxes workshop or an LLC workshop. Like there's so many things that could be happening. I just have no idea how we would suck people in to remember that this is how other industries operate.
Drugs.
Boobs.
Special brownies for all, blowjobs in the back room. Come one, come all.
I don't know the answer, but I know it's happened in the past, and it could happen again if people wanted it to. Where we have like a targeted, refined, mature NC-17
Well, I just think that it would be really
experience.
awesome if like Jessica gave a presentation on biosecurity and like informed people about the other industries where biosecurity is normal, and like normalizing stuff like that. And then we have the new shed testing that I think a lot of people still have questions or want to hear informative lectures on, because we're all just kind of getting like snippets of the process. Does that make sense? And so there's so many avenues where it could all come together and be really beneficial to all of us and to our own businesses. But like I said, how do you get butts in the door? Because ultimately you have to make it worth people's time that are there, even if they're volunteering. Like we can't be in the negative, if that makes sense. And you can't throw this big conference and have 100 people putting the conference on and 100 people watching the conference.
Well, because your audience is going to be mostly people in the industry. That's not going to be, you're not going to be targeting like,
the public. No, it's not going to be a general public event.
Right. But what you could do is like live Twitch or whatever you wanted, like pay to watch the whole thing from home if you couldn't make it. So even if 100 people were showing up and there were 10 speakers per day or whatever, it would be very normal to live stream it and sell the live stream, and you have like a 7-day window to watch all your talks. That's pretty normal for like, you know, like the ancestral health talks. Like there's 10 people fucking there, but they sell the live stream of people telling them how to do keto all the time. So that maybe people would pay for that for those talks. I'm just more like, how do we get out of the like race to the bottom part?
Exactly.
Where we're all competing with the worst companions instead of like being elevated by our best peers. We need to be around our best peers, not competing with the worst wholesaler beside us. And we're like, I guess we got to drop the price of all this down to $20 because it just got to go.
That's how I just ended the auction. And it's great to move out snakes, but it's disheartening that that's the reality of prices on the really low end stuff.
I mean, yeah, you move stuff, but you took an L on every single one of them, you know, but at least,
I was happy to do at this point.
Yeah,
They've been sitting around for a while, but
not continuing to take the L on them. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
but
sometimes you got to do the Band-Aid.
It would be nice if there was an alternative for the higher end things rather than the race to the L in the general expos. I don't know. I'm really liking the virtual vending that we've been doing the auction. I think that in the future we should try to expand it. I think if you're going to do something like sell the link for talks and stuff, you know, I think in order to like generate interest, you could have an online one to begin with, where the links you buy to get in, and then people remember that they actually enjoy this kind of thing, and then you could generate interest for an in-person one in the future. That's where I would go with it.
Virtual conference could be a thing. Yeah.
I feel like virtual conferences, to me, Like it's fine, but they're often very like what we're doing right now. And this is free. So we would have to like drive even pre-recorded conferences, conference like speaker talk.
You're saying that they're not going to get the camaraderie and the hanging out and the drinking and the blowjobs.
Right. There's value in face to face and the physical engagement, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I've
undivided attention.
And there's something about like being able to like put your hand up like this in a conference and just like give them the old run around. You know, when they say something stupid, it's fun. You get to finally like call them out in person, like the Lord's work.
But not. There's a lot of good comments in here that are, you know, with ideas and saying that it's something that they have an interest in. Cookout conferences, open bars, a weekend conference where the first day is informative and the second day is for sales.
Yeah, there are many variations, and I think all of them can work. And they could be almost be more specific, less specific, like just ball pythons, all breeding businesses, just crested geckos, just leopard geckos, all colubrids. All of them are, or like even like bring our fucking fish friends. The fish people are a way bigger industry. So if we had a combined fish,
well, and then they do these shows, and like they pay a lot of money to be there, not to make any money. It's crazy.
Yeah, because they have a bigger like. Their market cap is huge, way bigger than reptiles. Like the whole thing, people spend way more money on all the bullshit and the equipment. So if they can sell, just getting their name out is enough. But ours is a little different, but I feel like if we could do a combined coral reef fish reptile show, like bioactive, because that was sort of what would fit in that model, that would be fun. Who gives a shit? No more excuses. No more trailer trash. No more flea market. We're all adults. We've all been to real conferences. I paid $300 to go to a hydrology conference, Jana, in
you paid for that
North
shit?
Carolina. Oh, my!
Was that a write-off? Did you get to write that off as a school expense?
Well, yeah. Well, I was like in a hydrology stream ecology undergrad.
I mean, that's actually a good point. We could write it off as a business expense.
Yeah, all of these are write-offable as a bit, but like, which one is the real way to get your name out there? Because I know people are like, I did my local podunk show for 10 years, and I got my name out there, and I'm like, but I don't know who you are. So like, you did all that work thinking you're getting your name out there. It's only been in your local market, though.
Well, and I think if you look at all the other industries, they do have these conferences and they do have their non-sales, right? I mean, the people have to understand from a business perspective the importance of investing in a sale tomorrow, right? I mean, so if you're in a vendor hall and you're not selling stuff, that means you actually have to physically engage with people. You actually have to have a conversation with them, tell them who you are, what you're about, why your business is special, what makes your animals great, and sell them on your product before you sell them your product, right? I think that's how you actually get your name out there. I'm not getting my name out there by having a booth next to 17,000 other reptile booths.
The flashiest booth with the biggest sign.
Right. Like, I had the best stickers. Okay, you know.
That's why I thought about like if these two shows aren't good, I'm just not taking animals anymore. I'm gonna take a sign. It says like, "Fuck you, corn snakes are awesome. Argue with me now." And I'm not gonna sell any corn snakes. I'm just gonna be like, let's argue today. And we'll just like talk about why they're awesome. And instead of me focusing on like getting kids not to touch my delis, I could focus on convincing someone to buy a corn snake.
I could almost get popcorn and just sit and watch Jessica vend, because it's a riot to me.
It's just like I make faces like this
all day. You can just see that she's like trying not to throw up from the stress. And like I always go up to her when she used to vend in the same place as me. I would go to her and be like, "Do you want a hug?" And she'd be like, "Fuck you, go away."
Where have you been?
just keep a counter of how many times she's trying not to punch people in the face.
It's all day.
Or I do this
all day.
Thank you for coming to my table.
Well, then I guess you don't need to buy from me because I don't let you touch stuff.
I wasn't going to sell you anything anyways.
Respect the sign or whatever. But I'm just like over it. I can't like peacefully convince someone of anything in that environment anymore. Just saying.
Well, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the
Yeah.
concept of like educating families and having like a family friendly reptile event.
Yes, but
Where
that doesn't
like
need to be mixed in with the high end stuff. I
it
don't
really
think.
doesn't need to be, and it doesn't need to be mixed in with your whole stock. Like you could bring your show snake and educate people with your information and give them your card and do a sale after the show and just have people there that are educating and selling themselves, like you said, future sales. I do a lot of that at shows. Sometimes I sell more after a show than I do at a show because I'm not pushy, and I maybe I need to be, but if someone doesn't seem ready, then I'm like, maybe you want to do a little more research and call me when you're ready, you know? And a lot of them do come back to me and buy a snake because I spend, you know, an hour chatting with them about husbandry.
They go buy the snake at the table next to you.
But they could absolutely go across. Some of them do, and that's really frustrating. That's why sometimes I'm like, I should just be more pushy because I just sent that guy a sales. But I think if you format it that way, and then if there's a petting zoo, then it's not upsetting to you, or a climbing wall, then it's not like, why the fuck is this here?
Right, and there could be a show with just climbing walls and petting zoos and whatever. But I think that one needs to be separated from the $2,000 ball python section. To me, it's just like, I don't know the point of putting those animals at risk, the high-end animals, in the environment that's supposed to be for petting and having fun. What do I know? Yeah, corn snakes are awesome. The Herps had a beta vendor. I find that good because obviously we have axolotl vendors, so we're already like halfway aquatic anyway. But that's like more our ally than like having a pig vendor, which is something.
Or a dog vendor or a cat vendor.
The pigs scream constantly. Sorry, the show's down here. Do we need pigs there?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Unless they're
there's
frozen
all kinds of weird stuff at ours.
Pigs though?
We had pigs, miniature pigs one year. We had, like I said, munchkin kittens for like $1,000 effing each. But like I said, we've had puppies for sale. We've had, what was the other really weird one that I was like, what?
I don't mind a little bit of like small pet section, obviously, like a hedgehog circulator, but there's like a point where it's like, this is literally a barn. You've launched a barn in here, and
let's sell chickens too, and goats.
Well, if they do that, the show promoter should probably put them in their own section at least. Like, this is the barn section, and so it's away from vendors that don't have like screaming animals. My snakes don't scream yet. I mean, we'll see.
Emus, yeah. Or what are those foxes? Those really
fennec foxes?
Yeah, those.
I mean, they're cute, but is this an exotic pet show or a reptile show? It's very confusing.
Depends on which show you end up at. Mini cows, donkeys. Come on, I mean, we could really make a day of it.
Oh my god!
They would at least wash their feet before they entered.
Saddlebug. I've been watching the cow auctions that are local to me on YouTube Live. You can watch them because
that's the best content you can find.
This live stream of auctions, the prices are way down. So that was my comment. It's like cow, like per head prices are down, sheep are down, like even commodity animals are like. So I wouldn't be too depressed about whatever. Flower sales are down. So like any sort of extra thing in your life that would bring you joy, down. So like this is like not just a economy thing, but just incidental extra things are all down. I'm on a podcast.
Is he out for the year? Did she just mute herself? Oh, anyway.
She did. Yeah.
My kids still have 3 effing weeks because we had so much snow this year. And if it's literally flaking out, like there's little flakes, nothing on the ground, they cancel school for like 3 days. It's ridiculous.
We don't have snow days here.
No, I'm sure you don't. But
No.
we just have like one plow per county because we don't get it enough to have like a team of plows.
All right,
and
I'm back.
so we know that like if it's gonna snow and stick, we're screwed. So they had so many snow days that they're in school till like the 22nd, which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
he's been out for like 3 weeks or something.
That's ridiculous. Like, why? Why are they still in school? I'm so ready for them not to be in school. But then, you know, as soon as they're not in school, I'm going to say, I'm so ready for them to be back in school. But still, it's summer and we want to go do fun things and they're still in school for 3 more weeks. What the heck?
Yeah, feed is up and then all the animals are down. Every kind of class of animal. So don't feel that bad about the ball python market because like cull steers, they were going for like $100 a head, and I'm like, there's more meat on that than that, but people are just like dumping because they made too much meat to like get post COVID, and so there's like a supply problem. So it's like we have lots of problems. We had not enough of everything 3 years ago, and now we have too much of everything now, and it's tough.
So we have horses too, and I'll tell you, like, the price of hay has like tripled. Yeah. But the price of horses is like quadrupled.
Yeah,
so maybe the horse market is where you want to be. Yeah.
Everybody jump over to the horse market. You heard it here first.
No, horses have always been tough because there's always like low end horses that are never gonna like make more money than they cost to take care of. So you're like basically rehoming them, which is fine. But then like, should they go to slaughter instead? And don't tell anybody I said that.
Yeah, don't say that.
Should they maybe be dog food instead?
Well, they're so sweet.
No,
so it like makes you feel bad.
I'm sorry. They're really intelligent animals, but so are rats. I mean, like, it's just a normal function of any animal husbandry hobby is that some are going to get...
The point is, though, is that like people shouldn't be breeding hobby level horses because...
Oh, you mean it's like backyard breeding dogs? Oh shit! I have a female that's not fixed, and my neighbor's male
because there's enough like byproduct produced by other
mutt puppies,
high-end breeders and like racehorse, track horses that come off every year, millions of them, and you're like, and they're all sweet. Like most of our horses were track.
Well, there's really high-end ball pythons too, but you still have people breeding a pastel to a normal.
Right? They probably shouldn't do that.
I don't think they should either, but it's still happening.
Right. It's like a weird form of gatekeeping, but like the animals will exist hypothetically for 30 years. So like, do you really want to make that?
I mean, if Disneyland can have signs that say you have to be this tall to ride a ride, can't we say you have to have this many genes to be at a show?
My brother is like 6'8", and he has a tattoo right here, actually, and it's one of those like carnival signs. Like you have to be this tall to ride this ride. It's cool.
I don't know.
Hashtag goals.
There are many hard things here, but I don't know.
Did you just say there are many hard things in your butt?
No, here. But that'd be weird.
That's what I heard. I swear.
Santa's gone off the rails.
There's a cat is going off the rails.
You're off the rails. In your butt at all whatsoever.
I'm gonna replay it later and see. Anybody else hear that in the comments?
Write a porno about it. Send it to Jana. She needs it.
Not the bum. Is there anything else you want to say, Eric? Anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to touch on? Do you have a significant other that helps you clean rats that you'd like to shout out? Or
my significant other is busy taking care of the horses. So
she's a horse lady.
So we
man. Sorry, I don't judge.
She takes care of the horses, and I take care of the rats and the reptiles. So
what kind of horse is she into, or is she just pleasure, Western pleasure, whatever?
It's just for trail riding and stuff like that. We've got 3 horses. One's an off track. One is an Arabian who's like 30 years old and like the sweetest horse ever and everybody's favorite. Mm-hmm. And the other is her trail horse. So
yeah, horses are great pet. Let me put it that way. That they cost a lot of money to
I
keep
was gonna
them.
say, if you can
That's
afford to
They're
keep them,
they're so
they are
expensive. Like
amazing.
the vet bills hit 5 digits so fast.
Yeah.
The feed bills hit 5 digits so fast. My daughter wanted a horse, and I was like, "That's more than my car payment a month," because we don't have like anywhere to keep them on our own property, and so
Right?
you
No,
have
we
to
don't
board
either.
them.
So yeah.
Oh, you're boarding yours. You're boarding
Oh
3.
yeah.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
That's like a
Oh
mortgage
yeah.
payment.
Yeah. No, the goal is to get property so that we can board our own horses, as well as build a shop so that I can quit leasing a place too. So
That would save a lot of money.
I love
no,
compounds.
it'd pay for itself. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Compounds are my favorite.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just to clarify, the audience heard hard things, but so I wasn't far off of what
Hard
you were
things here, but
and I heard hard things in her butt. That's pretty close.
You're
Jana, stop
projecting.
thinking about my butt. This is crazy right now.
No, I thought you were referencing me, like telling me to go shove it up my ass. I thought you were like insulting me.
No,
Wow.
I'm talking about how hard, how difficult it is to love horses, in my opinion. Like from a horse family, it is actually like extremely difficult, no matter how much you love it, to be profitable, even close to profitable.
No. I know lots of people who are horse broke.
Yeah, it's like so. Like you think snakes are hard? Be a horse person. You're just like and like goats and stuff are the same way, but it's like almost worse with horse because you can't sell it to the nice El Salvadorian couple down the aisle so they can make tacos out of it. Like you don't even get like that. You have to just keep it and be diligent forever for this pet, basically.
It's like our 30-year-old, right? Like she's a great horse, but you can't ride her anymore. You can't do anything with her anymore.
You gotta float her teeth still and get the farrier out
you
still
gotta
and
take
do all
care of
that.
her, but like you can't horse her anymore. So she's an expensive lawn ornament.
Right. And I think it should be that way, but it's tough. Because you don't want to take a horse that you love to auction to be a slaughter horse. But now we're all depressed talking about
Reptilians,
horses.
right? Horse girls are crazy. Yes.
Best podcast.
They're into
ever.
some weird stuff for sure.
Not really sure what they're commenting on that makes us the best podcast ever. This is like way left field. I don't know if it's even my fault.
I like going to horse shows, like jumper shows and like eventing shows, mostly for the gay guy watching, which I don't know if Eric you're into that, but like the
I don't
best...
go to watch the gay guys, but we did go to the Arabian Horse Show a few months ago. Yeah,
gay guys like crazy. There's like a class of gay guy that is like a crazy horse girl who's like way into horses, and so they'll just be there hanging out, having fun, and I just like you could go to really big shows with really expensive horses and just like people watch the weirdest, sex perverts, usually the girls, and then like the normal gay guys being cute.
I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
All right, we've gone off the rails. Yeah, just trust me.
Go off the rails.
No, I went off the rails. Just trust me. All the good times are with the horse fetishists. Way worse than snake people. Y'all snake people thought that girl with cat ears and some tattoos was kinky? I don't think so. Horse people, they're way worse. All right. Sorry, Eric. We ruined your episode.
You're good.
Right at the end.
It's all right. Nobody's going to make it 2 hours in anyway.
All right. Tell everybody really quick what you're excited for this year or something you have for sale and where they can find you.
I'm hoping to pump out some Confusion Clowns this year and maybe some GG Kryptons. We'll see. And puzzle stuff coming up later this year, hopefully. I'm hoping to work in some lace puzzle.
Yeah.
And as soon as this Jaguar gets here from Wayne over at Cue Ball, he'll be getting some size put on him so I can work him in the next year too, and that'll be exciting. So
and will you, I think you asked to do an auction yourself.
Yeah,
do you want to do that?
I do. So
okay.
I will definitely participate in one. I kind of want to wait until after the August show that I have in Pomona.
Okay, that's fine.
And then
I just want people to get
whatever.
excited about
Yeah.
maybe checking out.
Yeah. And then by that time, I should have some new stuff as well as some of the older stuff still left that will go at the
Okay,
prices they went at
since you're
last week.
still here and we haven't kicked ourselves off yet, do you think it should be every 2 weeks at like the end of the summer when it's like the maximum number of babies and the
Like
maximum number of people
September,
like
October.
yeah, is that too
November.
much?
I think
that
once a month.
dilute the
I think
market?
once a month keeps it interesting, right? I think
Okay.
if you do it too much, you're going to lose the interest. I
Excitement.
think let this thing build over time a little bit, especially as we get like a mix of maybe some of the newer babies. Like, and the other thing is like horse auctions and stuff. I was thinking about this the other day after that last one. Like with some of the stuff that people are just trying to move, right? I mean, that's one thing. Like I'll let my head ultramel go for $20, and as long as you're paying shipping, I'm happy, right? But like maybe on some of these things, there's a reserve. That's
just the starting bid. I think people should feel comfortable starting it where their reserve is.
well, sometimes it won't get to the reserve if you started at the reserve, right? But if you started it, if the reserve's 100 and you started at 50, people will be like, "Oh, I can get it at 50," and then they'll talk themselves into going to 120. You know, like
When I was like free for shipping, and then I was like $10 because Jessica made me do it, and then I sold a couple of them for like $150, and I was like, "Oh,
right.
I just wanted it out of my rack."
Right, and
okay.
There's some.
I mean, if people, I guess the only way to do that is like you would have to be like, I have a reserve on this one. I'm not telling because I can't keep track of all of people's reserves or whatever.
Correct.
Like, I'm starting at 10, but there's a reserve. If you hit it, I'll tell you got it.
So for an example, like at the horse auctions, like they'll bring out the horse, they'll show off the horse, they'll ride the horse, they'll show you the horse, people bid on the horse, and then they'll say, all right, the final bid was $1,200, and they'll look to the seller, and the seller's like, they'll give them a yes or no, and they'll be like, the reserve was $1,800, and they'll say, okay, high bidder, if you want to talk to the seller directly and see if you can work something out, cool. Otherwise, this one's not sold.
So you want every auction to start at 10 just to get excitement and then force them to talk to the seller after?
Not necessarily. They don't all have to start at the same amount, right? You can still vary it based on the overall value of the animal.
Okay.
But I think sometimes you have to give people a chance to get caught up in the excitement of the auction. And sometimes starting lower helps with that.
Yes, it does, for sure.
Yeah.
I just it's hard to manage any of these dumb things.
No, for sure. It gets messy real fast. And so I understand where you're coming from too. Because that's a lot of the easier the overhead, the better.
Right. And the more you're able to facilitate the movement of your animals afterward without having a lot of extra conversations, because you're going to have a bunch of shipping conversations.
Yep.
For sure. And so if you have to also then renegotiate, because some people were the high bid and you're trying to see if they want to come up to 1,800 or whatever, hypothetical, that's 10 more hypothetical conversations. But if nobody bid and you wanted 800 minimum, and then you're like, okay, done. It'll just stay on Morph Market for 1,200.
Right.
That's what I was thinking about it. But yeah, the cheap stuff does get more bids, and you're more incentivized to be like, I don't mind that it's going because it's been to 6 shows and been on my Morph Market for 8 months.
Right.
And it's basically free for shipping. But if I get 20, that covers the cost of the box.
Right. Yeah.
So it's fine.
If I want to bring something nice to the auction, I want to bring, a DG Het clown or something. And
then you would want to promo it in the
right. It starts at $50, and it only goes up to $250. It's not going anywhere.
And I think people get that. So, but if you wanted to do it by bidding and having reserve, or a starting bid that is whatever 80% of retail, that's something you're comfortable with. Right. Then either of those is fine. I just can't keep up with.
Yeah, Jessica tried for the publicity, but if she can't get anybody else to share it but her, then it's not being seen.
Well, for the last one, I did a save. A save the date 3 weeks before. I did we obviously promo it here every time. It's going to be June 3rd. It's going to be June 3rd. And then I did
And I shared it to my stories, but I didn't put it on my posts or individually advertise it. I just was sharing holdbacks advertisements, and so maybe I need to have it
posting a story
individual.
every time just because the stories like
disappear.
they go away. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I posted it to Repti Post, Herb Social, Facebook, and obviously on Instagram, like an official one, and then I reshared Chris's, but I probably should have clipped Chris's pics and posted them. But I think if we had like a post every day,
what if we like
of
incentivized and we're like, if you share or put it on your wall, then you are entered for a HRP t-shirt or something.
Sure, but Jana, you need to take pictures of some of the snakes that you have for sale.
Yes,
I think that's the most important,
Well,
not other people
and I think
sharing.
you could do teaser pictures and even reels if people will send in the videos of the highlight animals, or not even just the highlights, but just a sample of all ranges of value of the animals. Right.
Yeah.
And
Like Chris
post
did
those
it.
like
Chris did
every
it.
other day for the week leading up to it to get people kind of psyched to say, hey, this is going to be available at the auction this Saturday, you know?
Yeah. Yes, we need to do better. Everyone collectively. More pictures. But I think...
Do we have a date yet for July?
No, because it sort of depends on...
when it hits a holiday.
Yeah, it hits a holiday, so it's probably going to be like the second weekend, but we have to like confirm with like our last sponsors, like they have to all be okay with it, because it's... I guess that we could kick them again, but these all have waited 2 weeks now, or 2 times now. So we want to like try to let them all get on together. It's better than going to a show. I'll tell you what.
Way better than going to a show. It was awesome to just be
it's
like,
it's way less overhead. So I mean,
I can just go back out to my snake shack and put everyone away, and then I can go home, which is like a few steps. It was great.
Yeah, and since there's no overhead, like every time I've gone to a show recently, I've just lost money. So I've sold those snakes for free and just lost money selling them. If I sit here and I sell them even for 50% less, I'm making more money than I would selling like the show fodder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cheaper to
Yep.
do it like this.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for coming on, especially short notice. I was confused all weekend what we were doing. And then I was like, let's just talk about ball pythons. We haven't talked about it in a while.
No, dude, I was stoked to get the invite. So I'm super glad to be able to join.
We'll have you on maybe after Pomona, get like a Pomona update. I'm like,
or like wait till he breeds his super stranger. I'd like to hear how that goes.
Yeah. Or something. Or maybe like we'll check in. I just like, we don't hear from post Pomona people that much.
Like
the market, because that market was supposedly really strong this last time.
Did you do the last Pomona?
I've gotten mixed reviews from my friends who were there. Like a couple of people said, "Oh, it was good," and other people said it was trash. So, like, again, I think a lot of it comes down to what you bring. You know, are you bringing the right stuff for the right audience? So,
but what is the right stuff?
That's a very good question.
It's always changing and different.
It's always different. Andrew asked why all the proceeds can't go to USARK. A couple of the vendors, the last auction, said that they were going to donate some of the proceeds to USARK.
Chris and Justin both said that in the live.
Yeah, but it's not really a format to raise money for USARK. It's a format to basically wholesale or move animals out of your rack, depending on what price point you're at. The point is that the market's pretty slow, and if you've taken them to a number of shows, you're losing money on them. So it's better to move them out in the beginning.
He does ask if anyone can be, and
I mean,
so like of course, could.
One snake could be okay.
When I come on, I would have no problem saying dedicating one animal to like USARK pure, like 100%.
Speaking of which, thank you for reminding me. Holy shit, Gerald's Het DG female, he won and donated to the USARK Florida auction. I forgot twice now to re-auction it. So it's on my Instagram. If somebody wants a female Het DG for a donation to USARK Florida, sponsored by Gerald at Forward Motion. Please buy it. And then buyer covers shipping. You donate to USR Florida, I ship it to you. It's still here. And I'll like help shipping a little bit. I'll bump it down so it's reasonable. But yeah, single animals. We could do whole nights again, but I think people need to get out of the mindset that every auction is only for charity. I feel like that's
We're all business owners here. We can't just run
we
charities.
got bills to pay too.
Yeah, we gotta feed the rest of our snakes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeremy or Jeannie Bod came in and was like, "Is this for charity?" And we talked about it a little bit. And I'm like, "No, it's just a regular one." And I think we've gotten in that mindset that auctions are just like to dump, and it's not a good way to sell. I don't think any of us got mites doing the auction last weekend. So
you mean exposed to only our own snakes? No, I didn't get any mites.
So I think it sounds like a great way to sell.
I didn't have to treat anybody for mites.
Yeah,
that was great.
So let's and if there's a possibility it could be not an auction, but literally a live reptile show where there's no bidding,
virtual
just
vending.
a price. Yeah, and you're just like, look at this, Vanna White,
like QVC.
Yeah, would that work too for like just the high end stuff? Like this is Kiki special after dark, and it's got like sparkles.
I think if we can get more people in, because that's kind of what Cue Ball was doing.
Yes,
and
So
I know that
you could.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say you could also do a reverse auction format where you start out at like 1,500, and if nobody bids, you slowly lower it until somebody bites, right? And then you can only lower it as much as you want to, but like that way, at some point, somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna bid on this before somebody else gets it from me," right? Like you can do a reverse format too, and it still works.
I did that on a few things that nobody bought, like with the price I said. I just lowered it and was like, best offer, But my stuff was all cheap, nothing, like low end stuff, and I don't know how well that would do. I don't know.
I don't think it would work well with the lower end stuff, but I think maybe with the higher end stuff, it could work. Like it would still have to be reasonably priced as an auction, Yeah.
But many of these things we will try because I'm just interested in like breaking the mold of whatever the fuck is going on Morph Market right now, where it's just like too
there's
much
so
inventory.
much like room for it to grow or change or adapt to what is needed. But I just think having another avenue besides shows or Morph Market is only a positive.
I did have a Morph Market inquiry last week who didn't buy, but I finally got one. Like it's been a minute. Like since like April or something.
I just took everything off of Morph Market because
really?
Well, nothing I had was more than $500 at the shows that I was listening up for, and so it was like it didn't feel like it was worth it to have it up there. And I wasn't getting any inquiries on it.
You don't get any messages anyway.
Right. So if it's up there for 60 days and, it's getting all these people looking at it and you've reduced the price twice and you're still getting 0 messages, it's like, I'll just try to sell it at the shows. So,
I mean, speaking of listing animals, have you heard about the awesome connector in Husbandry Pro that you can link all your animals and post them on Herp Social with just one click? It's super cool.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's awesome. No, it's genuinely awesome. Like you just said that you just enter up the code that you get from Husbandry Pro into Herp Social, and then
where do you enter it at? I tried to do that, and then I got.
If you go to the market, it said there's up in the upper right. There's a thing that says I think HP connector, Husbandry Pro connector, and then in Husbandry Pro underneath commerce, you go to the connector and you can get the key. But like literally, you just hit one button and you can list any animal.
But they have to be listed as for sale in your Husbandry.
You have to have them listed properly in Husbandry Pro. Yeah.
That's all I'll ask over there, brother.
You're like, you just lost me.
When they were doing like the notification glitch or whatever was happening, it kept like bringing up notifications for animals. I'd turn notifications off, but I'd forgotten to archive them, and they were just listed as sold. And I'm like, I have so many animals in here that are like misassigned.
Yeah.
It's been a
was
fun
some
week.
Yeah. I agree with
Raven,
Reagan. I think it's a good format for the higher price stuff.
I think that the reverse format and the reserve on the higher end stuff would actually work better than the lower end stuff with a reserve. Because if you have a set price that you're not willing to go below, and if you're working backwards, then that makes more sense. And just in my brain, obviously, all these things need to be tried and see what happens. But in my brain, if you're going backwards and you have a stopping point, then you can be like, I've hit my reserve. If nobody wants it, then I'm going to put it away.
Yep, exactly.
Is that much more psychologically different than just putting it at the minimum price?
I think
it is for cheapskates because they think, I'm getting it for less.
It's not even just that. No, it's because it's more of a buy it now function, right? So instead of a normal auction where I'm bidding 70 and then somebody else bids 80, then I'm bidding 90, and then no, you're doing it reverse. So you're saying it's 1,200. Okay, nobody bid. Okay. It's 1,150, and the first person to say yes gets it. Do
you think reverses should be mixed in with regulars in the same night, or would that confuse people? No, I think dumb. As long as people, I think there would be an initial learning curve, but once people get comfortable with it, I think it would work. Okay, I'm literally a little scared because people are like,
I think if you did them,
they come in late. Like there are rules listed.
Right.
I don't know, and then they're like, so we would have to be like, I don't know, lots of visual.
Or maybe do them in sections.
Right? I was just going to say, if you do them at the beginning and you say you're doing the high ends at the beginning, or you're saying you're doing the high ends at the end, and then if you have a banner that's running across that says directions are in. Directions now we're right it here. Again.
Jessica's dying inside.
She is.
I do like to overthink things and help people get to the right place, but maybe it should be like a reverse auction, all high end one night.
That could work too.
I don't disagree
for a while until they're trained.
You might get more buyers in willing to pay higher price if it was exclusively like X amount and up, because they don't want to sit through the single
ones,
and the
right,
single
which is fine. I want all kinds of these things. Like I want a mixed one too to facilitate the moving of the low end. And then I want a high end only to highlight projects. Well, let's do it all. Fuck it. Every 3 days we'll have an auction. I'm kidding.
You're on your own, Jessica.
Well, I was saying I don't want it to be that common, but like we've already had requests for like auctions right after like the first set of like late summer shows when people know shit's not moving or whatever.
Like and late August.
And before winter shipping blackout when that happens for like the northern people. So to get all those people and not have the auctions be 3 hours long, you almost need to have them more frequently than once a month in August, September, October, November.
Well, if you do them every 2 weeks and you switch it with like high end and then low end,
would that be enough variation?
I think that would be like decent.
Other reptiles.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well,
so you make one the premium rack and you'll make one the wholesale rack.
Right, or just like the mid would be fine. But like there's one where every animal is descending from $1,000 something or $5,000 or something.
Right. Yep.
That would be fun to me. All right. I guess we have all of our plans for the next 6 months.
Thank you, Eric, for your consultation on that. Much appreciated. Now you have to come.
Professional auctioneers.
We'll make you do the first descending one so you can explain the rules.
Oh, Lord.
You better go find a bunch of shit you don't want.
Right?
Round it up.
Well, you did say you had a bunch that you needed to move out because you're reformatting your breeding plans.
Yeah, but well,
those are all the dogs.
I will.
Yeah. My problem now is like I probably can't do it. I can do it probably, but I only have 20 something corn snakes from last year and 20 something ball pythons. So if I have 2 shows between now and then, it would have to be new babies. But to me, like the real benefit of new baby sales is selling them quick.
Money. Yeah.
So I was like, if we do it every 2 weeks, somebody could pop on, do 10 of like the
I mean,
6-week-olds or whatever.
if the
But-
auction format worked well enough, I wouldn't do shows.
That's
right?
what I'm trying to tell Jessica. Like,
I'm in.
the
I'm
major
in.
show promoter in my area, I quit going to his shows because I didn't like his ethics. And I'm like, how am I going to make that up? And then Jessica's like, we're going to do online auctions. And I'm like, sold. So I think virtual vending, there's room for it in the hobby. And I hope to see it go places and get more of an audience. I know that some of the other auctions, you know, sometimes it's up to like 500 people, and I would love to see that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
if
we'd
there's
have
an
to get
auction
some
with
kind of
500 people.
application platform or something because YouTube chat would not work.
Yeah, the people doing it on Twitch, I have to go watch it. But like, there's a lot of old people who like barely understand to get on YouTube. I don't know if I can convince them to get on Twitch.
I don't understand
including
Twitch,
Jana,
so
apparently. Who's a
sorry.
geriatric old
There's
man.
nothing to understand. It's
It's
not.
just the
Okay.
same thing. You're like viewing a video.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
You're on a different video like YouTube, but a different video. It's a streaming service. And you can get in a hot tub technically if you wanted.
I
Write
had a
names
hot
on your
tub.
arms.
Someone going to donate a hot tub so I can sit in the hot tub?
Well, it could be a kiddie pool. You could auction from the kiddie pool. That'd be awesome.
Oh.
We should launch this.
My kiddie pool is like ankle deep.
I don't even care. It'll be just chatting, but like
Whatever.
the
I'll
animals
bend
have their
from
new
my
category.
bed. I'll just lay down and just like hold up shit. It's fine.
All right, we dragged it on again. We talked for another 20 fucking minutes about auctions.
All
Thank
right.
you for coming on. We suck ass. As always.
The worst podcast in the
Thank
hobby.
you to all of our sponsors, as always, being very helpful. We'll have Eric back on to talk all kinds of things as his season progresses. A lot of people are just like waiting for season updates to like see what's happening. Janice falling asleep. All right, man. Thank you. You stay in the green room though, so we can
All right.
decompress.
Don't